Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. This is your host of the Samaj One Show, Samaj One. We are actually traveling cross country here between South Carolina and Texas, currently in Mississippi, and I just wanted to kind of touch bases with you all and let you kind of get an idea for those of you that are under curfew and distant control and shut in. Just wanted you to kind of get an idea of what it feels and what it looks like to travel on these roads here. This is Interstate 20. And just so that you can kind of get an idea of what's actually happening out here. I know many of us are kind of restricted to our locations and our areas, but I've been doing this drive across this country for over 35 years, and I've never ever seen the roads this isolated. And we have a lot of truckers on the road, but very, very few cars. So again, we know that we're in a state of an emergency. I believe that this is just a continuation of everything that we've discussed and have been discussing over the years, and trying to forewarn and foretelling our individual peoples about what is actually possibly one day going to transpire. And lo and behold, this particular day and time is upon us, and I know that many of us are not prepared, because all we have to do is look at the news and hear about all of the items at the grocery stores and everything being sold out. So that lets us know that now we're panicking, as opposed to just trying to focus on what it is that we need to do. We're panicking, and that is going to not be a very nice picture at the end of the day, because what will and is going to transpire is that because of the panic and people being frustrated because now they're all at home, having to work from home, trying to homeschool their kids from home, that just means that the temperature is rising. People are getting frustrated. I actually spoke with a business associate earlier, and he pretty much, his business is shut down, and so he's at home homeschooling the kids, and his wife, because she's in the medical field, she still has the capability of working, and he's there frustrated because he's trying to make ends meet, and he's trying to teach 3 kids, and he's getting very frustrated. So just imagine, let's just say another week of this, or possibly another 2 weeks of this. Just imagine the mindset of those people that have been locked into their homes and locked into those apartments. Wow, I can't imagine what it would be like to have to stay into an apartment complex with 20,000 other people, not being able to reach out and not being able to touch and communicate other than via these electronic gadgets that they love for us to be on. I just wanted to bring something to your attention. At this particular time, there's been 674 deaths from the virus. Well, out of 330 million people. Now, I know maybe some of you guys aren't very good at math, but I'm pretty good at math, and that does not even equate to a 1/10 of 1%. However, we have this national emergency going on, and again, something is amiss, because that makes no sense to me when, again, we can actually do the math and find out how many boys in the hood actually died in the last week. No one is reacting to that. How many people died from opioids? We are starting to react to that because it's affecting the right crew. However, no one is concerned about all of the people in California and all over the United States that are homeless No one's reacting to that. But here we are, we have a small virus that has basically a fatality rate of 0.0.1, which in essence, you're more likely to die out on this highway than to die from corona. But we have this overreaction. So tell me, if you can, what is wrong with that picture? I kind of know what's wrong, but this is just food for thought, because to me the writing is on the wall, and it has been a long time. And I used to have people laughing at me and telling me, oh, you're just tripping and you're crazy and you don't know what's happening, and because America's the greatest country in the world and there's nothing like that's going to ever happen. Well, I say to those people that you do not understand what globalization means, and you do not understand what it means when you have a system that is controlled by a handful of people called the elite. That means that you're just a pawn in their game, and you have no significance other than being a pawn. So we wanted to come to just share and bring some things to your attention with these curfews, with this social distance controlling, and all the businesses shutting down. I mean, we would think that we have been attacked with a nuclear bomb or something, the way that we're having our government react in the $2 trillion stimulus package, that all of a sudden we can always find money when we want to stimulate the economy for the people who already have money. Isn't that kind of ironic, family, that these people are already billionaires, multi-millionaires, but we always bail them out first? So what is wrong with that picture? Again, I'm Samaj One, and we're at the Samaj One show, where we talk about this economic scenarios, and we talk about being able to survive and possibly thrive through all of the total chaos that is upon us. And I know many of us that have been delusional in our thoughts, thinking that the government is going to take care of us, and we don't have anything to worry about because we're in the greatest country in the world. Well, look at this highway, people, and tell me what you think. Why are we overreacting to a cold? I alluded in my first video that this is more than about a virus, people. This is about an economy that was going to crash regardless to the corona, regardless to any other issues that you could think of, because what has happened is you've had a system in place, actually goes back to 1913, and I know that's over some of our heads, but that's when we invoked this so-called IRS, the Fed, the people that actually tell you how and where and when you can spend your money, and the people that control your money. So we have to come up to today's information, because we went through that Great Depression, we went through many other scenarios to get to where we are now. We went through many wars that were basically fight over oil, and basically a thing called the petrodollar. Google it if you need to. Those are some of the factors. Then in 71, we had a fellow by the name of Nixon that took us off of a gold standard and put us on this fiat currency standard that we're currently under, which actually is the reason for what is transpiring, people, if you don't know. That is because when you give someone or a country or a corporation the right to write checks at their disposal, it becomes like say for instance, if you gave a crackhead $1 billion today, and $1 billion is very, very difficult to spend, trust me. But if you gave a crackhead $1 billion, I guarantee you within 2 or 3 months, it would all be gone. Because they would have every other crackhead that they would be giving crackhead money to. And that's kind of the same scenario of what has happened with this elite system that we're up under. Because one country says, well, America's doing that, and the next country says, well, hey, why don't we go to the central bank and maybe we can get us about 10 or 15 trillion dollars. And so the snowball effect took place, and because we were able to engage in this endless monies and printing and all of those factors, then we are now going to suffer the consequences. I remember back in 2001 when the market crashed, dot-com era. Remember in 2008 they call it the housing bubble, the derivative bubble. And now that we have upon us an economy that is going to crash supposedly because of Corona. I have to kind of chuckle on that one because, again, they could have come up with a better excuse, I think. But anyway, lo and behold, this is where we are, and this is what we're having to deal with, people. But can you see this highway? This is an interstate, people. If you've ever traveled before, tell me, when have you ever seen an interstate empty like this? But anyway, getting back to this writing on the wall, again, they've rescheduled the Olympics. You're talking possibly $1 trillion industry just from watching people participate from all over the world. And, you know, we've been stimulated. They've put out this emergency money because the market was crashing so bad. And, you know, that gentleman that beats on his chest and talk about how great the economy is, I'm sure he was pretty upset. So he needed something. So they came up with this emergency stimulus package that, like they weren't already stimulating the economy. See, they pulled the wool over our eyes, because basically what happens is the Fed, ever since September, have been pumping billions and billions and billions of dollars every day into the market, and every night. And now they're just coming out and saying, oh, well, we're going to inject $2 trillion into the economy, when in essence they've already injected probably 4 or 5 times that amount in the last 5-6 months. But again, here at Samaj One, we're not concerned about politics per se. We are more concerned about individuals, and that's the only reason that we created this channel, is because we knew that sooner or later people were going to have their eyes open, the scales off of their eyes, and they would eventually be able to see the things that we had been foretelling and telling for years and years. And now it's upon us, and people are scared because of the virus. And I know, again, neighborhoods you could go to that you would probably lose your life a whole lot faster than you would from the virus. So we come at the Samaj One show to enlighten. I see over here the National Guard, they're getting ready to do their thing, I guess. So when you implement this martial law to 100%, then you guys won't have to question anything or wonder. Then it'll be right in your face, like my man Jill Scott always said. He says, the revolution will not be televised. It will be live. And I guarantee you it's live for us now, because all of us that are setting up in those houses with those kids, we're appreciating those teachers possibly a little bit more. All of us that are setting up in those houses with each other, and we don't really care too much about, I know we're probably realizing something's wrong. So I'm looking at a time frame, people, of another 7 to 14 days, and the revolution will be live in your neighborhood. You won't have to worry about turning on your TV. You will be experiencing it from a perspective of the Mad Max syndrome and and the writing is on the wall. Peace, blessing, long life to all of us. We hope we all survive through this catastrophe that has been that has been forced upon us. We hope that we can survive so that we can again one day be able to maybe restart and create a new way, because this particular way is coming to an end, to a city, to a town near you. Again, Samaj One just reporting live on the interstate here, sharing that so that you all would be able to have an opportunity to see for yourself what is actually happening. Thank you.